day you'll buy a ride on a comet, and you'll ride into the sunset of a planet that's beyond it, beyond the wall of all there is. And you will stash it in your pocket, and you'll take it to Manhattan, man, where your grandma's 10 and you are 10. You're not a family man, you're best friend. And you will hold it together under the oldest running water of the river of each other, with the power of the future. One day you'll ride into the dawning.
Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, and if you didn't know already from those main titles, we're back to talk about Perpetual Grace Limited, Episode 3 of Season 1. It is called Felipe Usted, Almost First Mexican on the Moon, Part 1. I almost was like, maybe I should do both parts together, but I'm like I said, I am savoring this special little show one bite at a time, so it's going to be every couple of days. So I'm not canceling my epics. In fact, there's a few things on epics I want to check out now. I want to check out that Berlin Station show too, and Deep South with Walton Goggins. So hey, thanks, epics, for actually turning me on to some shows that I want to check out. But we're here to talk about Perpetual Grace Limited, which, oh my god, this is just the first fucking part. Full spoilers if you haven't seen this episode, and like I said, go to Amazon. You can get a free 7-day trial to watch epics, and trust me, it's worth it. It's so worth it. And again, if you haven't checked out Patriot, that's on Amazon Prime, go do that too. So kind of just looking at a few things that I kind of missed. I forgot to touch on the $26,000 that Tracy wants from Paul that they owe, or that he feels he owes him. I forgot to mention that, so that's kind of an important thing. It also forgot to mention when we were talking about the Scotty Scholl's character. She said it's going to take 90 days to dissolve the trust. So, I mean, they barely have 90 minutes in this episode, right? There's talk of 90 in this a lot. So, yeah, this is all just so intense. So, we get our narration from Felipe Guillermo Usted, who's in astronaut training. So it kind of explains the guy in the suit, but also James. I was saying Jimmy, so I mean James was kind of close. Or Jimmy was kind of close. Same thing. His name is Jimmy. James, whatever. So anyway, he's got a dad that was in space too, or at least maybe that's just the story they told him when he was a kid. But we get the narration of him talking about how he, before he met Hector and James, he was on his way to the space program, and it's just really, he wanted to be away from death, around where he comes from, all the cartels and all the violence and everything, and he's looking to the stars, and he wants to be away from all that, away from death. And he's the coroner that had the death certificates made, right? And so this is the story, he said, of how they all fuck it up for him. And I was like, holy shit, it's Pedro, Efren Ramirez from Napoleon Dynamite. Anyway, if you don't remember, here's a little, just a real quick reminder.
If you vote for me, all of your wildest dreams will come true.
So yeah, I think it's really cool. Just another person in this cast. And speaking of Efren Ramirez, man, he needs to work more. Or maybe he doesn't want to, I don't know. But I could always use some more Efren Ramirez. He was great. So, Pa. Ben Kingsley, man. Ben Kingsley. He's not in this episode that much, but I thought he was trying to take apart a piece of the can. So I was like, oh, he's going to do something and he's going to know how to get out of the cuffs with maybe the pieces, you know, a piece of it. Something he taught himself a long time ago. No, that's not what he does. Because I was going, did he? I thought he was, but he... And then when I saw the fucking bandage on his arm, I was like, oh shit. Dude sat there perfectly calm and still. This is a scary motherfucker. And had cut his own finger off with a fucking beer can. It's like, oh fuck, he did. And I got a lot more notes again. So, Jesus Christ. I love it, man. So, James and the real Paul are trying to attract snakes. So they go to a gun store where they basically are looking for snake attractant. Like, snake cologne? Well, I don't know. What are rattlesnakes into? And this poor store clerk just like, no, we don't have snake juice. Ugh, jeez. And this is where he says James, and I was like, that's his fucking name. I forgot his name. And then I realized James and Jimmy, like I said, are kind of close. So, then, it's in the way he did it. Yeah, that's what I wrote down next. But we get... Oh, okay, so we get to discuss Uncle Dave. That's why I wrote that down. Uncle Dave, he knows what Paul really looks like, and he's the only one that would be kind of a trouble, but he's not getting out or whatever he's supposed to be. But, and he's a toll booth man, and they bring up suicide. The suicide rate of toll booth people as being like the highest in whatever. I don't know if that's true, but... They talk about Uncle Dave as if that he's a pedophile. And you're like, well, oh, what's wrong with being around kids? Oh, not the way, it's not illegal. No, oh, the way he does it, it was. But sitting there, actually, I love this because they also talk about, and they're going to bring it up in a second, but how you sit there, you've opted to let a rattlesnake bite you, and it's real. It's happening. Like, this is all... like, I would... Holy shit. I don't know. I don't know about that, man. Letting a rattlesnake bite you. But, I mean, we're going to talk about this, like, all the things in this at the end, but I could never. I could never. I mean, I would have to have the fucking snake... I couldn't do that. The things you do for money, I guess. But this is where we do get to see the backstory of Uncle Dave, who we right now are thinking is a pretty bad pedophile. And there was a little girl, right? There's that story of the little girl that got hurt. Now, I don't know if that's going to play into this at all. I know that he didn't have anything to do with it, but like with the fact that he's convicted of this kind of thing, if they look into it, right? I mean, Leslie Walker could look into it. There might be questions about the death of the little girl and how, he's, a convicted sex offender. But Uncle Dave, we find out, is played by Kurtwood Smith. And we all know, if you don't know who Kurtwood Smith is, then shame on you. I mean, go back to, we got RoboCop. We got That 70s Show. We got a great turn on the X-Files. We got Patriot. We've got, man, Kurtwood Smith is all over the place. But I'm willing to bet that not many of you know him from this.
Today in 1880, Gideon Sundback was born. This Swedish-American inventor is best remembered as being the father of the zipper. Oh, sure, people had been messing around with the zipper before, but Sundback was the first inventor who was actually able to pull it together. Since his invention in 1917, the popularity of the zipper has gone up and obviously down, and sometimes it kind of got stuck in the middle. A zipper costs relatively little, but when it's not working, your whole garment feels completely pointless. Kids, it's kind of like a career in acting.
All right, so don't you just love little things when you can find them like that? Little awesome nuggets of shit that just... I thought that was amazing. But anyway, back to Uncle Dave. So 8 years ago, Uncle Dave got effed in the A. Pretty bad. Now, like, when you see him, he's weird. He is weird. Who tries on underwear at the store? Now, before any of you go, I do, and I don't mean I do, like you guys saying to yourself, you do. I'm sure this happens. I'm sure that there are people that are like this. So you just automatically go, okay, he's off. He's off. And I'm still thinking he's a pedo somehow. And then you hear the announcement of the kid going missing. And I expect him to be like all of a sudden perked up and like getting himself together to go find himself a little, ripe little child to molest. And instead, the kid that goes missing walks in on him in the dressing room as he's taking off his underwear. Dropped to the floor, and the kid walks in, and so does security. So there's a little boy standing in your dressing room that just walked in while you've got your pants around your ankles, literally your underwear down to the floor. Now, I don't know like how he got convicted of this, but he got fucked, man. Uncle Dave got messed up. And what I like about this is it subverts the old cliche of the perverted uncle. I'm an uncle, I'm not a pervert. But now when they make him go work in a toll booth and tell everybody that drives by that you are a sex offender and that take the change from the bowl, I didn't touch you, over and over and over again, that would drive me to suicide probably. I don't know. Madness, at least to mental institution probably, because then he can't even go from all he can do is go from the toll booth to home, and that's it. And that's just, they never show you the downside of things, of people that are wrongfully convicted and things like that. And it's, it's always just some, I don't know. It's a nice, like, change of pace of just this poor guy, man. So, yeah. So we get starting tomorrow from James, where they're talking about, again, another person talking about starting tomorrow, same as Pa. Of, I'm going to do all this shit. And then starting tomorrow, it's all over. And that's the rationalization right now, is we just got to get through all this shit, and then it'll all be gravy. But I don't know. Then we get this really interesting scene where Pa gets to a payphone and talks about don't release Deloche. I think that was the name. I'll get the money. So Pa owes money to somebody. So they've got all this money in their company, or their, company. But he owes money to somebody, and he looks like actually concerned instead of just nonplussed or just, like I said, like that reptile brain working. But Uncle Dave tries calling his sister, and she doesn't answer, and that sends him like kind of panicked that I guess she must always pick up. So he just bails on his parole basically. Because he's supposed to go to a halfway house where she, helped him get there, and they obviously are close. So to break your parole and risk going back to jail to see your sister, it's clear he gives a shit. Again, proving he's not, what people say he is. He's, but Ma, in the meantime, Ma's in transit, and we get the. James gets bit, right? But he goes back to the house, and this is when Dave shows up. So James is inside, and he can't leave because Dave's outside, and he knows that he's not Paul, and he calls the real Paul. Paul tells him, "Hey, just call the cops," but he doesn't want to do that. And I just love this. I love this. This is to me a better equivalent of the Peter from Family Guy going like riding into it, is the sticking to this thing. They have the phone call where he's got to get to the hospital, but then they go back and it's just silence and him waiting. The knocks have stopped, And he's waiting for him to go away and waiting. And you get all that quiet and I go, oh God, right at that right sweet spot moment. We get... And he starts knocking again. I love it. I fucking love it. So he's just like, fuck it, and does call the cops on him. Who then, but see, this puts James unknowingly in a different situation because that sends Dave to where Leslie Walker, Texas Ranger, is waiting. I love that when he just says Leslie Walker, Texas Ranger. Now I hope what he does, because if I find out that there's people know me from a TV show, Sheriff, if you want to like put the fear or make people kind of off, you know, like get off their game as far as a Texas Ranger can go, I would be leading with I'm Leslie Texas or Leslie Walker, Texas Ranger all the time, because you would probably always get people to like completely kind of go, wait, what? Wherever they were thinking about, your name would become important, and they would probably drop their guard for a second. And I don't know. That's what I would be leading with if I had that name. But holy shit! So he has the. They don't show. They show from the back, but his swollen head. Holy crap! That's a big ass head. And Ma plays the old card. I noticed that people in this are, you know, one of the things that I think of when as I'm watching this is people not being afraid to play the card that they're dealt, the hand that they're dealt. First, James did it with the dead parents with Leslie, where he was, you know, kind of getting backed into a corner and didn't know what else to say, and he just had to use the one thing he had left, the one hand that he had left, which was play the dead parents card. And in this, when she's getting off and everybody's exercising, and to get away from the group, she just plays the old card. It's all she has, and I love that they just and the fact that she just stays like, I'm just an old woman, and it's like, no, you're not. She scares me in a different way than Pa because of that. Her quiet and his quiet are different. His is, I don't know. They're both very scary, I gotta say. But so James wakes up though in the hospital. He's got Tracy in front of him and Hector on the phone. The deputies outside ready to put the fucking thing back on, because of course they are. They're gonna take it off, sure, but they're not gonna just let you wander off like. These guys just are not thinking a lot of things through, and they're rationalizing a lot of things just because this money can get us all the things that we want. But poor Hector, this isn't working out for him, and even though he wants to leave his family, he wants to do it in the cool way. Because right now he says that it's going to be not the cool way, where my family, you know, leaves me, I go to jail, I got nothing. And, you know, you also find out that, okay, so this is where James gets the down low on Felipe Guillermo Usted, who he has to go to NASA, basically, or Houston, the space program down there, to basically, to solve Hector's problem and to solve James's problem. They're deciding to go and fuck up poor Felipe's life up to save their own skin. So this is basically this. We already know where this is headed. But it's the journey that's going to be really interesting. Not the cool. I still can't believe not. I want to leave my family, but this is not the. This isn't the cool way to leave my family. Like there's a cool way. I mean, I walked away from my family. I went to Lollapalooza and I never came home. So, but Hector describes him, he's a can-do Mexican. And again, like the whole conversation that he had with Pa, talking about why no Mexicans make it to space. Plus, I love the training scenes where they're having him get blasted with the music and the different kinds of music and the deprivation and the water stuff and all that, and just him just being, I know a lot of Mexicans I think that could handle that. Latin Americans, whatever, however you want to put it. I think a lot of I think we need, you know, Mexicans could be great in space. Anybody could. I would be terrible in space. You would have to knock me out and then tell me, like, you know, after we've arrived or whatever, or we're too far away in the journey to be able to take me back. Eventually, I think I'd get used to it, though. But Pa, they're talking about how if he gets to the consulate, then he can prove he's not dead, and then this whole thing is shot. But Pa decides to make a little U-turn because honestly, why would Pa want to go to a government agency anyway, right? I mean, if he's up to no good, he doesn't want people really looking that closely at him. Plus, he's missing a finger. He'd have to, say that. Why is he, there's all sorts of questions that I don't think Pa wants to answer. And so he sees the other choice with the wallet of Hector's saying, well, I can control this situation by going to Hector's house where his family is. And then Walker trying to get information from Dave. And I love this because if you watch their interactions on Patriot, it's very similar, but different characters. Kind of the way the interaction is, where they say each other's names back and forth was a lot like, I believe, the way that they talk to each other in Patriot. And wasn't Kurtwood Smith's character's name in Patriot Leslie? Oh snap! I gotta look this up real quick. All right, so yeah, fucking A right. Okay, so in this is Terry O'Quinn plays Leslie Walker. In Patriot, Kurtwood Smith played Leslie Claret. I was gonna say Leslie Claret, but I didn't want to say it. I felt I might have been confused about a different show. So that's pretty interesting. I don't know, just a little detail like that makes me, because the writing process in this is just fantastic. How they get to where they need to have Tracy, okay, which we're gonna get to that, right? We got to get to that. We're getting to that. So much to talk about. So he's trying to get the information from Dave, but I mean, they're just a couple of guys talking, and just, I mean, I look at Dave and I feel nothing but just sympathy for him. But this is where we get the call to the cartel, where Hector puts the word out, we can't, if he's not, we got to stop him before he gets to the consulate. So if I put this call in, they'll just take him down. And then, well, he said injure, but come on. We've all seen Breaking Bad. Well, a lot of you have seen Breaking Bad, hopefully. You know what happens when the cartel gets called in. Injury, permanent. We get a little bit more of Felipe's narration. I just like how he's describing how this guy, who is up there, did all the training and everything else, and he just looked and he got lost in space, literally. He lost it in space. That our minds aren't meant for that, and what we do is scrap, connive, and contend. What a fucking just simple way of breaking it down. But we also now get to see that with the message put out there for the cartel, that the shoe victim of Paz, the one who got his head beat to death, beat in with a shoe, they're at the funeral and they get the message. So Pa is got an old man coming to kill him. So okay. Tracy's parents. Wow. Okay, so I love it because Tracy is the perfect don't judge a book by its cover. Because, yes, he's done some terrible things, but there's he talks about honor, and he's so weird, but there's something, honorable. He's just, I mean, I feel like he's definitely nuts, right? But, but it's I don't know. But I love every single moment of Tracy. I've just got to tell you, I was laughing out loud to the writing that he was given, because they talk about, okay, so let's just say he tells James, I'm going to kill you in a matter of days. I love that saying, because then he gets to say, well, that's what the doctor told me, that they're going to die in a matter of days. So in a matter of days, you're dead. And it's a just sweet, nice touch. She's got their arms, holding each other. They're both on life support, so when one goes, the other one goes. And he shows him the pager. And I mean, those are what they use in restaurants. I love it. And it's a parents you're dead thing. It used to be a Chili's thing, but Chili closed. Now it's a your parents are dead thing. And then he's doing the whole, I already killed one guy, and if I have to do you, it'll be. I love this. I love this so much. And then we even get to throw in "You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown" for good measure when they talk about the size of his head, but not just the size of his head, but the content of his character. And so this is where James kind of brings Tracy around, or New Leaf, I should say, to helping him get out so that he can get the money that Pa really is the reason that this is all happening, and he'll pay Tracy back, but Tracy needs to help Paul or James get out. So many fucking names. Out of the situation because they want to put the ankle bracelet on him, but they can't do that if he's there. So they do get out. They get out, but then they show Felipe, and the guy's like, "You're going to the fucking moon!" So now we have Glenn, who's on the bus with Tracy, unknowingly, with Tracy, who's still holding the pager like, fucker. But Glenn is now, it seems like whenever James swears is when the noise hurts. So that's kind of interesting. But he writes the note for his dad in the sand at the edge of the lake, because that's where Dad usually is. He doesn't read much anymore. I love this. Just all those little details. Do you have a degree in moons? Well, you do. I love how he tries to explain this, because he's like, well, guys, just kind of like, we learn things. We tell each other things like moons. It's just a thing. We just know moons. Everybody kind of just knows moons. You don't have to be an expert in it. The next scene, though, with Dave, played by Kurtwood Smith, man, is just so subtly heartbreaking. I can completely fucking relate to what he says. I'm just an awkward, normal guy that, like, this fucking shit happened to me, and then now I'm looked down on, and I've thought of it all. I've thought about myself like that, and I am not even going through what Dave's going through. And that one tear, man, holy shit, how do you just stone-faced pop that sucker out. I love these two guys together, by the way, again. Like, Leslie Walker and Dave. Terry O'Quinn and Kurtwood Smith in a scene together to me is just like, people were freaking out when Al Pacino and Robert De Niro were together in Heat for the first time. It's like, well, for me, it seems like this between Kurtwood Smith and Terry O'Quinn. Those are the moments that get me all jazzed up. And I just also love how everything in this show is just always on the razor's edge. Like the balance. The way that they write and plotted this story out, and all the writing, how you get from you want to say, "You a good man, Charlie Brown." And you backtrack that saying to how they had to get there to say, "You a good man, Charlie Brown." It starts with having to get the ankle bracelet off, right? And then getting there and not, like, how do we give him a big head? Okay, well then, and then just back it up. Oh my God, I just think the writing in this is just so incredible. But right at the end here, at end of part 1, wrong ice cream truck is attacked with a fucking one of those shotguns that would take your whole fucking head off. And Hector's family seems kind of nice. I mean, she seems to be the one with the money, and I don't know what it's like in closed doors, but she seems to really like her husband. She wants to do nice things for him. She's getting him this nice typewriter to help him work with his novel. So, what's up his ass? I'm sure maybe there's more to the story. Maybe there isn't. Maybe he's just one of those dudes who just, now maybe he wants something for himself. Maybe he's just being proud because his wife has the money and whatnot. Maybe he feels smaller because of it. I don't know. But that's the end of part 1. And if I'm missing anything, I apologize. I'll try to maybe cover it in like a recap if they show anything that maybe I missed. But fantastic episode again. I can't wait. We're going to do episode 4 on, let's see, today's Thursday. So Saturday we'll have Perpetual Grace episode 4. because they've got a lot to get to still for the rest of the channel. And like I said, we're just doling these out. I'm taking my time because I feel like it, and I think in the end the product will show, and the reviews will get better as they go, as we cover the show up to the end of the first season. So anyway, hopefully you guys like this. I hope you guys did. I'm really enjoying doing them. This is such a fantastic show, and I hope that even if somebody just sees this and wants to know if the show's good and whether or not they should watch it, that's really what I would love. I just want to make sure that people see this show. So anyway, if you like the review, please hit the like button. If you're not already a subscriber, please become a subscriber. Hit the bell for all notifications. If you like these, please share them with other people so we can spread the word about this show. Otherwise, this is Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews saying have a great day, and we will see you on the next video. Bye.